We all have journals, junk journals, art books, altered books, but how do we use them? I want to share my tips and ideas on how I like to actually use my junk journals, how I like to decorate my pages, and show you the different ways that you can use your real ephemera, your photos, pieces from your life, and incorporate them into the junk journals that you actually make. So today we're going page by page. I'm going to be sharing 3 journal spreads with you, one in each of my junk journals. This way you get a better idea and you can see how you can apply these same ideas and tips in any style of junk journal that you're making. For my ephemera, I like to have both personal and decorative. Vintage ephemera is my favorite kind of ephemera to use. This can be anything from vintage papers, envelopes, tags, wallpaper with beautiful prints on them. Some of the things that I'm going to be using for journaling today is going to be washi tape. It's a really easy way to add lots of patterns, pretty florals. There's so many washi tapes out there. I'm going to be using the ones that I have personally designed. Washi tape has a ton of purposes to it. It's not just beautiful, it's very functional. The next thing is I like using pressed flower stickers or real pressed flowers. I have a couple in my shop. Take your pressed flowers, pass them through your scanner, or even take photos of them and print them out. That way you have the beauty and the essence of a pressed flower, but it's not fragile and you can use them like stickers. And of course, you cannot forget about your personal ephemera. This is your photos and pieces and snippets of your actual life. So I usually take my photos and I edit them on my phone to make them look a little bit more vintage. And then I also like to sometimes Photoshop them into making them look like old Polaroids, scanning in my vintage postcards and printing them out so that I can include them in various journals. This is a photograph that I took. And then in Photoshop, I add little labels on top of them. This is a scanned page from one of my other journals. So these 3 are the journals that I'm going to be decorating, just a journal spread in each to give you some ideas. I always like working in multiple journals at once. This is her Garden of Grace. This one is my Heart Blossomed. I use lots of magazine images in here. This is going to have more of my personal photos. This one's going to have more of my magazine photos. And this one is a mix of both. So I like personal and magazine photos, as well as anything from Pinterest that I love. So this is the ephemera that I ended up choosing and fuzzy cutting to decorate my Garden of Grace journal. I'm going to start with this layout here because in the beginning I would know it's going to be mainly just my poem. Here is where I knew I wanted to add more of my personal ephemera. So I first start off by stapling the flowers because I know this is going to be a floral theme. And I like it so that it's a little interactive little piece in the front. I want to add this postcard that I actually removed all of the words so that I can do my journaling. I want to focus the spread on a recent little vacation that we took, so I want to document that in here. This is a photo that I took and I'm going to add that right in the back. I know I want to use this paper. I think it's really pretty. It looks like fabric. I'm going to cut off She Moves Quietly Among the Green. And this is what I mean about using the poem and just cutting off little snippets that inspire you so that you can then create something beautiful with them. I really like this paper, so I only want to use a little piece of it. I like how it's not centered. Before I glue my photograph down, I'm going to actually tip this in. I'm going to tip it in with this really sweet washi. I like using cream washi if I'm going to be decorating on like a vintage paper. So this is a music sheet and it just blends in really nicely. And then I do want to add some washi tape on the bottom. It's kind of like we created a little frame of little snippets of paper and washi. I know I'm going to be journaling here, so I think the front of the postcard, I'm going to cut the words individually and I'm just going to place them on a little curve following that postcard, and I think it's going to look really pretty. I just have these ledger sheets that I cut out from a book and I just cut them and use them whenever I need some writing space. And then I'm going to add quietly here up at the top. I just stamped a couple of those little words and all I have to do is do my journaling. I might add a little pressed flower or maybe a little bit of washi just for decoration. Now we can focus on this spread. I'm going to cut my little faux Polaroid that I created. And then in that little space, I just do my journaling and this is going to go straight into that little pocket. I'm going to fill in all of my journaling and show you how that looks like at the end of the video. So now moving on to the spread, I already have an idea for how I want to decorate this page. I printed out this image of little birdies, and it fits perfectly on this vintage postcard. I just stitched it so it's a nice functioning postcard pocket. And I have this tag, and that's where I'm going to do my journaling about what the song Blackbird means to me by the Beatles. I also have my little bird stamp. I love that stamp. It's one of my favorites. I use it all the time. And then on this page, this little flip out page, I printed out some of the lyrics to the song. I'm going to cut each and every sentiment into a strip so that I can extend the sentiment and cover up the whole page. I think I might take a pressed flower sticker here or fuzzy cut a little bird and do my journaling on here. Now for this spread, I want to take advantage of the fact that we have such a nice big flip, and I'm going to use one of the little journaling spaces from her Garden of Grace kit. It's this really beautiful porcelain plate, and all I'm going to do is glue it right onto the page and journal on top of it. I'm going to add some of these little pressed flowers on here, just in the corner. Oh, that is so pretty! I love using transparent stickers because they just blend onto whatever kind of paper that you're using. So I'm just going to journal inside of the plate here, journal on the back of this photo. So we worked on a couple pages in my Garden of Grace, and now let's move on to our second journal. So this journal is the one that I love filling up with beautiful magazine images, treating it like a Pinterest board. So we're going to be focusing on these spreads right here in this journal. I already have an idea, a little inkling idea. I know I want to use this beautiful image that I found online. I love the thrifted frames, the embroidery, the different kinds of pillows and patterns. I feel so inspired when I see this image. So I'm going to put it in my journal to never lose it, to never forget it, and then journal about what I would like to include in my dream bedroom, which I'm starting to collect little pieces for. I'm going to use one of my little fuzzy cut flowers, which is instantly beautiful. You don't have to do that much. You just have to place it right on top. Just like the pressed flowers or just like any kind of flower sticker, always utilize florals in many ways because you will be surprised by how much it kind of elevates your page. Either you're fuzzy cutting them from magazines, from scrapbook papers. It's one of my favorite ways to make a page look really beautiful and feminine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass this through my sewing machine just on the sides to turn this into a little text spot so that I can put a little tag in here to journal about this image. A little tip. If you're sewing and you don't have darker thread, or you just don't want to change the thread and you stitched it with a white or cream thread, you can always take a black pen and just go above it ever so lightly. And this gives the illusion of stitching it with black thread. So you can see the difference there compared to this side. So now I'm going to glue this to my page. For the tag, I'm going to cut off one of my journal pages. And in order to make it a tag, super simple, you just cut the side. And then you take that same little strip, pass it on the other, and cut. So this is going to go nicely in my little pocket so that I can take it out, journal on the back so that you don't cover up your image with your writing or take up another page. Really easy way to make your photos functional and beautiful. I have this little wonky scrap piece. I stitched this a couple years ago and I just didn't end up using it. I like it. For some reason, this just makes me happy. And I think it's a good representation of the bedroom image because it's patched up, different prints coming together. So all I'm going to do is just glue down this part of the paper. Well, I'm going to take another sentiment from my poem. I really like this sentiment. This place is hers. And I think I want to add it. There we go. This place is hers. This is a little sticker book that I bought from Hobby Lobby, I believe. I want to add some of these little stickers because of the picture frames. Oh, that looks so cute. I really like this sticker book because it's really pretty and it has a vintage feel to it, which is what I really like. And I think I'm going to use this one here. Add that little flower there. I like this little heart here, right there on the bottom. Here, I can do my journaling here, maybe put a photo. I just like flipping this open and I could do more journaling here, more journaling there. I really like how quirky and unique this little page is. I have this image from another decorating book, so I'm just going to trim this. I like to sometimes cut the little corners of my photos to give it an outline. And I just finished the page up with some of my journaling. And then on the back side, what I'm going to do here with some scraps of leftover paper, this is just the easiest thing to do, is just take your scraps and use them. And on the little flip out page, I'm just going to write the top 5 things that I want to use to decorate my dream bedroom. I absolutely love these pages. Such an easy way to use florals, images from Pinterest or magazines, stickers, your writing. So now let's move on to the last and final journal. Let's move from My Heart Blossomed to Her Story. Now I'm going to share with you how I journal in Her Story. I have some of my ephemera pieces already prepped and ready. This image from Bella Grace is one that I absolutely love, and I just added a little pin with some lace, as well as this image here of some beautiful curtains. To me, this is just very peaceful, this image, and I want to combine both of them together along with the sentiment that I printed out. This is something that I really like to do. If you have an envelope that's already tearing on one side, just cut it in half, and now you have some space to journal. Since this page is folded, I'm going to attach it to the back side. I absolutely love how that looks. Behind the image, we made a collage. Alright, and so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this little part of the flap on the back of the music sheet. And that's how we connected this little flip to our music page. And I'm just going to add some washi tape right down the center. I love how those little scissors look. I'm going to use just some vintage paper. By cutting the little corners in a diagonal, I find that when you do this to certain pages, it looks like you have a little label on your page. And in order to make our label stand out, you can come in with a marker. And that just gives a nice little outline to your label. And you can do your journaling on here. I really loved this layout. Very peaceful, very calming, and very easy. Now we're going to work on this spread here. It has very minimal decoration. I have an idea for how we can piece together some magazine images and a digital. I have a photo from a magazine and a little scrap piece as well. So this is a good example of how you can combine magazines and digital images to create a beautiful page in one of your journals. So I'm going to connect it just like you would a little puzzle, and I'm going to place my image there, and then I'm going to glue my postcard right on top, making sure we don't lose certain little layers of our collage. Flipping it over, and you can see how patchy it looks from the back. Trimming off the excess. I just finished passing our collage through our sewing machine, and now I'm just going to back it with some ledger paper. Since I don't want to cover up this part, as I love this old vintage paper, I'm going to take some washi tape. I love the pink and the little doves. I think it's really pretty. And then here is our washi, and I'm going to decorate the top as well. And what I love about this is that it's like a little file folder, so it's like a file folder flip. And we did that just organically by collaging and piecing together different magazine images. And you never know what kind of shapes your collages will turn into something more magical that now makes you want to write in here. This is where I would do my journaling, and you would never know because the first thing you would see is our beautiful collage. So in this journal, we made 2 beautiful spreads, one that's a little bit more calming, and then another that's really floral, really beautiful, and added a lot of character to a page. So those were the spreads in Her Story. I hope it was inspiring to see how I personally use 3 different junk journals of mine that I've made, each one having a unique purpose and space to hold different things, incorporating real vintage ephemera such as photos, making them look a little bit more vintage, finding images that speak to your soul, and collaging various little bits from magazines that we all know and love, using sentiments to inspire you to journal, or simply just taking your pen to paper and journaling about your memories, your thoughts, and your ideas. These are some of my tips in how to actually use a junk journal, and I hope it was helpful to show you not just in one, not two, but 3 of my personal journals that hold my heart entirely. Don't overthink it, just decorate, find your favorite materials, and put them together in the pages of your journal. Using a junk journal is just as fun as making one, and I really hope that this video was inspiring and helpful. If you're someone who sometimes struggles with finding inspiration as to how to actually use a junk journal, if you guys really liked this video, then I can make plenty more. So until next time, I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are, and I hope now you're more inspired to actually use your junk journals. I will see you all in the next video with hopefully a new project and a new journal.